Hey everyone! First off, I just want to thank you for tuning in to the very first Lunch Walks with PA Solis episode. This is the start of a new series where we're going to take a quick stroll and dive into important topics that often don't get the time they deserve during office visits. So, this is really our chance to slow down, take a breather, and give the extra time to those topics that need a little extra attention. So, lace up your shoes and come join me on this walk. So, as you have already read, today we're diving into somewhat of a hot topic and something that's been on a lot of people's minds. Today's topic is vaping, and furthermore, is vaping safer than smoking cigarettes? Now, what is vaping? Vaping is when you inhale a mist from a device like an e-cigarette. The mist comes from a liquid that often contains nicotine and flavors. Why it's a topic of interest is because a lot of people think it's probably safer than smoking. I mean, why wouldn't it be? You're not lighting up a cigarette, so it must be safer, right? But let's dive in and talk about why it's not as safe as you might think. First things first. Just because vaping doesn't involve burning tobacco, it doesn't mean it's harmless. You're still inhaling chemicals, a big one obviously being nicotine. And I bet you didn't know that nicotine is just as addictive in vapes as it is in cigarettes. So while you may be excited in thinking that you have gotten yourself away from the pack of cigarettes, you're still getting hooked on something that is messing with your heart and your brain. But here's the thing, nicotine is not the only thing that's in these vape pens. Some of the liquids have chemicals like formaldehyde. You know, the stuff they use in glue and cement. Yeah, that stuff. Let that sink in for a second. Anyways, when you heat that up in a vape, you're actually inhaling it right into your lungs, which is not really the place where cement belongs. That being said, this is why vaping still leads to breathing problems. A lot of people who vape still have the same complaints as those who are smoking cigarettes. They've said things like they feel out of breath or they're coughing more than usual. And did you know vaping also messes with your immune system? This is important to note because now it's creating even more problem for us. It makes it harder for your body to fight infections. So if you have been vaping and end up with an infection like pneumonia, don't expect recovery to be easy or smooth. All this being said, even if you're not smoking cigarettes, your body's still taking a hit. Now, here's another interesting thing. Have you ever heard of popcorn lung? I know it sounds wild. It's rare, but it's a real condition. It's linked to a chemical called diacetyl. This chemical is worth mentioning because it's sometimes found in flavored vapes, and this substance can lead to long-term damage in your lungs. So while you're enjoying those sweet flavors in the vape and thinking they're completely harmless, your lungs are definitely not having the same fun. They are drowning. So if we're honest for a sec, a lot of people switch from smoking to vaping because they think it's a safer alternative. But as you have probably picked up throughout the walk, it's not. Again, you're not getting all the tar that comes with the cigarettes, which is definitely a win, but you're still getting nicotine, and that's the real problem. So if you're trying to quit, vaping is not the answer. With vaping, you're just trading one addiction for another. The goal should be to quit altogether, but I understand, this is easier said than done. I personally always encourage my patients to set a quit date. I recommend that they start removing cigarettes, lighters, and ashtrays from anywhere they can think of. Having this quit date creates a sense of commitment and urgency, while increasing their chances of success. Some patients have been able to quit cold turkey, and that's great. But if this seems daunting, try reducing the number of cigarettes you smoke each day over a period of time. This allows your body to adjust and make the transition to quitting less overwhelming. There are other safe ways to stop smoking. These include things like nicotine patches, lozenges, or even gum. These help curb the cravings by providing a controlled dose of nicotine without the harmful chemicals found in the cigarettes. But not only that, they also help reduce the withdrawal symptoms and eventually help you gradually wean off nicotine. Other methods to help you would be things like working with a behavioral therapist. They can also be helpful because they can help change your smoking habits. Other methods like joining a support group, meditation groups, or even yoga can also be beneficial. But now while we are on the exercise topic, exercise is always a big one. Exercise is essential because it can help reduce the cravings, it can improve your mood, and it can actually help you keep distracted from the urge to smoke. It can actually also help you recover from some of the damage done by smoking. But essentially, if you have tried all these things without success, there are also prescribed medications that we can use to reduce cravings and also the withdrawal symptoms. These medications help with both the physical and the psychological addiction to nicotine. Overall, it's recommended that you stay patient and persistent. You can even set up a reward system for yourself and reward yourself with a dinner or a gathering when you have reached the milestones of a day, a week, or a month without smoking. To bring it all together and answer our question, is vaping really a safer alternative to smoking? Here, I will argue that the answer is still no. Keep in mind too that vaping is relatively new, so we don't know everything about the long-term effects. But what we do know, we know it's enough to say it's probably not as safe as people think. I hope this was super helpful and that I answered some of the questions you may have had about vaping. I hope you got something out of it. As always, feel free to drop a comment with your thoughts or questions. I'd love to hear from you. And thanks again for joining me on this first Lunch Walks with PA Solis episode. I hope you guys can give me some more recommendations on what to talk about next. I obviously have some topics in mind, but just let me know. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.